Hi, Stephen Fortner here for Antares, and today we're going to learn to make vintage Talkbox effects in AutoTune Articulator, a plugin that simulates the sound of, well, everyone from Peter Frampton to Daft Punk. Let's check it out. Here we are in Logic. Articulator uses two signals, an audio signal and a control signal. Those correspond to these tracks here. I have audio signal and control signal, just to make everything easier to read. And the audio signal is the thing that you want to sound like your voice, like a synth or a guitar. I've got this soloed in the plugin bypassed. Here's just a simple 4-note synth loop. Now let me play you the control signal. I'm going to reverse those. This is just me saying a simple phrase. We stay awake for good fortune. 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 Now what we want to do is take this control signal and use it as the sidechain input of AutoTune Articulator. The plugin itself goes on the audio signals track. In Logic, the procedure is simple. We just select the track of the control signal. Move that over there because I haven't zoomed in. We just select the track of the control signal as our sidechain input. I'm going to unbypass the plugin, zoom out. I'm going to do one more thing here, which is to take the control signal out of the main mix so we don't hear me talking. And now, let's hear what we get. We stay awake for good fortune. 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 Next, I'm going to show you how to set up the same routing in Pro Tools, which is a little bit different. Here's Pro Tools. I have the audio signal on the bottom here and the control signal on the top. Articulator is once again on the audio signals track. The first thing we're going to need to do here is send the control signal to Articulator by way of a bus. That's how it's going to get to Articulator's sidechain input. So the first thing we want to do is go over here to the control signals track and choose sends. We're going to take the first available bus. We're going to use a mono bus. We're going to want to make sure that bus is pre-fader so that the fader of the main mix, which we're now going to take out, is not heard. And then we're going to want to make sure the fader for the bus itself is up so that we're sending some nice signal to Articulator itself. Now, let's go over here. This little key icon means a key input. Key is sort of a synonym for sidechain. And we'll just select the same bus, bus 7. Let me zoom back out. Unbypass. Let's get so we can see everything. And let's see what things sound like. We stay awake for good fortune. 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 We are now back in Logic, and I'm going to show you what the controls on the Articulator plugin do. One cool little thing first. I had a hidden track up here, which was the soft synth that I used to record this audio signal, which I just printed out. If you place Articulator on a virtual instrument track, it will do its thing to the audio based on the control signal, just as though it were an audio signal. Cool thing to know. Okay, so first we have an input mixer. Let's play our track. This lets you tweak your input signal if it was a little too hot or a little not hot enough. It has a built-in compressor to sort of smooth out the volume changes between your words. This adds a bit of gain, as you'll hear, so look out. You can also increase the noise level, which adds this sort of nice creepy whisperiness, which can make your words sound a little bit more word-like. Has a stereo mode. Double-click anything to get it back to its default value. Next up is formant extraction, which basically is what analyzes the control signal and relates it to the audio signal. You want to select the optimum vocal range for what your vocal range is. I have a baritone bass. Notice there was also an instrument setting if you want to use something like a drum loop for a control input, which is really kind of cool. The tracking knob can help tighten things up if you had a sloppy input control signal. I was really careful to over-enunciate my syllables, which is just really good talkbox practice, so this knob isn't doing much, which is a good sign. Then we go up here to formant modulation, where we control the length and width of a virtual modeled human throat. This is easier to show you than to tell you. I sort of like that. Sort of sounds alien, a little evil. Amplitude modulation relates the amplitude of the control signal to the amplitude of the audio signal. To put that simply, it controls how choppy things sound. I'm going to make them less choppy. Default is the most choppy. Then we have an EQ. It's a single band EQ, but it has variable bandwidth, Q, in the middle. And we have this nice visual frequency representation here. I'm using it to tame a honky, tubby area of my voice right around the notorious 250 hertz. You can bypass it. Over here is our output mixer, where I can, if I'm getting clipping like I am here, I can tone my output signal down a bit without having to do it in the mix window of my DAW. I can pan things left, center, and right. And lastly, I can add a little bit of the control signal back in. Maybe if I just want a little bit of the front end of my words on things. Of course, you can bypass the plugin. But why would you do that? And that was Avox Articulator from Antares, the people who make AutoTune. Check out the website at antarestech.com, download a free trial, hang out there and on our YouTube page for more tutorials like this one. Thanks for watching, and we hope you had fun.